Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Neremik, and welcome back to more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we carried on with our investigation of Natsume's case, and we ended up in his room. I talked to Mr. Sholmes, and we have a feeling that the Garadebs up on top floor are hiding something. So, that's where we're going to head. We're going to try and get some information out of them. Will it help our case, or will it just expand on something completely unrelated? Only time will tell. But, with all that said... you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Ah yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what's... For the umpteenth time, will you watch your ballywag doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. No, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind. Oh yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Okay. So we can talk to these guys all we want, but let's just walk around their room, I guess. Look at that enormous screen! It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yeah, certainly seems like someone was trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a quick look. Just a little peek. Maybe let's not, Mr. Sato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Okay, well, if they see fit, we'll just check this out. That's a full-size cannon! What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? Bah, that's little more than a toy. Oh, sorry. The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? Isn't it overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted ball is going to throw at your next boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garadeb? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Drives him over the barrel, you see. They drive very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Okay, and over here... Oh! Well, fancy seeing you here. What's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes! Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Sherlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Oh, what were you doing over here by the window? I am given to watching the evening skies and sunsets, madame. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs as undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such an observation. So we took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Oh, well... Keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. And one other thing, Mr. Naruto. Oh, me. I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes even see the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruto? I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Okay, and apparently I concluded that by opening the court record, but away we shall go. Mr. Garadeb, though it would seem you're a military man of considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one would call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it's all too clear to me. that there are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Miss Narrowhead, look! The old man's broken out into a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simple, sir, for we're in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning. I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not so easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the Beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage as of late in these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly uncandid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, king of the beasts. What is this prideful, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped in from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet, living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me as with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For one protruding palm is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrideb, at Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the attempts. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I've made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Okay, so, nature of the beast, and the conclusion was a rampaging Asiatic lion. And now for topic 2, aftermath. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress that this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by its supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need to only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it's this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. 4 cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved beast has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yeah, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. unimaginable. The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need to only look at that tower of cakes. Ah! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it, or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I am sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks on the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. And the aftermath's conclusion, the carpet was gnawed on by the starving lion. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh! Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in, again, but could I make an observation? Why certainly, Mr. Naruto. What is it? Again? Well, your deductions just now... Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies within the realm of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus! And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Sasato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for the afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Miss Naruto, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Miss Naruto. We don't even know yet whether this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, featuring Ryunosuke Naruto. So, course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, topic 1, nature of the beast. Let's see what we can fix. So, it certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampages of late in these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, from remember the military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Okay, so if he's not looking at the lion, he's going to be looking at something else. Mortar shells, somehow I doubt that. Let's see, what else can we observe? Oh, photograph frame? Huh. Behind the lion statue on the mantelpiece, and almost deliberately hidden from view, is a photograph. Though I've yet to examine it in detail, I can assure you that it holds the answer. Because I'm employing an extremely advanced detection technique called jumping to conclusions! What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you do not have a term for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes. A lot. Okay then. So, well, what we do know with some certainty is that a destructive creature has been at work in this room, and that Mr. Garrideb inadvertently walks in the direction of something that gives its identity away. Yes, if we investigate thoroughly... Okay, you're just trying to oust me for taking a shortcut. Is that what this is? Is that what this is about? Right, it's here somewhere, we just simply need to find it. Okay, well, we'll examine this first then. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply here. Okay, newlywed bride. There we go. Ooh, the true nature of the beast that is rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we will lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honoured to be described as a beast. Honoured might be a stretching point. Too late! The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Yeah. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yes, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Shunt is quite right. There is no sign of a Miss Garrideb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that his maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. Okay. So let's see. Let's have a little spin around. Let's see. What you got on then? Oh. Well, you know, that's usually quite an interesting thing. She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design, with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means... It's surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's on there for life, too. I can't imagine it'd slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo. Not to say. Do you know Mr. Garrideb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. Oh, a large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Oh, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in the photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Miss Garrideb herself. Oh my. What? Oh, Okay, before we carry on with Garrideb's thing, can I just say I am having the time of my life voicing these Dance of Deduction things, and I'm so happy that I haven't been stumbling over my words. Because just, man, like the flow and the thing and the everything. I love voicing these. I just want to say that because I'm in a good mood. Well, joy find detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes. My Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a belly corkerback. It would appear you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet here you are in the business of renting out rooms. Tsk. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing that a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here, this must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Pretty please. With a cherry on top. Yes, so new conclusion. The beast was in fact the raging wife of Mr. Garrideb. So, that brings us straight into topic 2 then. Now, Mr. Garrideb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably imaginable. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mr. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true! So perhaps that supporting arm seems to be propping up his head. Has some other significance then? According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible though. What could that pose of his really signify? Well, you may have seen it in some of his animations, but he in fact has a little bit of a slapped cheek. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the delivery of that impressive mark on your cheek refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garrideb? Well, yes. You have been desperate to have the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Rawr. Oh, the blazes! Did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it's this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Because obviously this is wrong. So, didn't Mr. Sholmes say that bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now I've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruto, she's a person, not a thing! Yeah, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap round the face. One so hard it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Let's see. So there's a bookmark. Oh, saucy! Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here too. Mr. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I loved you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks! Made with lipstick! Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then? Well, I know if I was married and I saw one of those, I would probably also fly into a blind rage. Yes, it's this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Gah! But I don't know the boy woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I've been saying! A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing, I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, the note must have already been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name, it's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John! A likely story. Oh, are you questioning my name now? Ugh. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bites. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpets over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who's inadvertently revealing the truth to me. You're wondering I have settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpets, we need only look at that tower of cakes. But surely Miss Garydeb didn't eat the carpet? No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's not true. So, this last part of Miss Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need to only follow Mr. Garydeb's gaze, and that'll tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can find. Yes! The answer was actually quite already in there. A candlestick monica thing. I'm going to examine it first just to be sure. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock could make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Oh, I think I know the answer. Oh, so we examine the candle on the floor, fine. We'll do the candlestick then, I guess. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at this candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room is the scene of a little marital altercation. Miss Garydeb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds the carpet was light, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yeah, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion or a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is only one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you. Oh. Topic 2, Aftermath. And the conclusion, the carpet was scorched by a small fire. Deduction complete. Elementary. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all me old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you hardly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather close to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt description. Oh! Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by the fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a belly thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. I had sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The belly furniture started going up as well. You've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. Over there, Mr. Garrideb. Well, you certainly have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. And all my favourite novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of him, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. And the wife started owing things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I back up against the window, and a heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 for the dozen. Worst of it is, that was my favourite. Book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through once again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think? So at exactly the same time as the terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside by my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think I've got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, as if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you this, although I knew the retired army man had to be hiding something. I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories. Those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrideb. Oh yeah. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Sosuke-san will be waiting for us, and I'm gonna have to give him an answer. Okay. So, we're finishing our investigation section now then. Very interesting, very cool. So, are we going to defend him then? Yes or no? And this is not the prison. It's time, Mr. Naruto. We have to hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's just hail a car... Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garidab's house. I know thee not, old man, false of thy prayers. What were you calling an old man, you Romo kidding in the pinning? There are more things in heaven than earth, Horatio, these are dreamt of in your philosophy. How's this Osho fella, Ray? What are you on about? Excuse me. Hey, what the... Who are you now? I'm so sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate there, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruto, is a lawyer, you see. Yeah, a lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Yeah. Fine, I'll be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a blooming nun to you? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fairest maiden, thou art so gentle. What was all that about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that I dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Garidab residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garidab mentioned he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, worthy poor Mr. My battles of weren't there, there could be. Sorry, battle did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Thee farewell. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems like he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Sosuke sending that man as lodgers, the Garidab house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly waiting to think our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Well. So, here we are, 19th of February at 6:31 PM. Local prison, cell 9. Oh, it's you. You're here, you came! Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched! We are sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese. Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it is through friendship transcending international borders that one can truly appreciate the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Oh, yes! Oh, it's you! The miserable rotten spy! Hairlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Besides your mother, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how my divested friend is faring. Gloomful room. At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Oh, you! How dare you hurl Sholmes? Oh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits and those accursed lodgings. No doubt Mel could be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bed-named. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Moustache's words. What? Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Okay. Cursed trial. Mr. Natsume, what did you mean when you just said that? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, oh, why are you looking at me so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? Oh, the Reaper. Oh, what do you mean? Please, tell me! Summarize it succulently in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived the trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my goodness, it can't really be true. That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded. What? Ah, I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes. Surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. Oh, you have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Oh, of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me? It could have been said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. Huh. What on earth do you mean by that? The Reaper. Van Zeeks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional doesn't quite equate to winning every case without an exception. Oh, that's good. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial there is both the judge and the jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, while the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage, by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence and calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, as from time to time, my dear madame, it simply is the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice, their fate is sealed. Oh my! Through the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? How? Ah, by all manner of misfortunes, sir. Perhaps they trampled into a passing carriage, perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown, perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a highwayman. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm... dead. No, done for. Doomed! Cursed lodgings. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at the Mr. Garadeb's house, I assume? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London for a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that Mumbriar Road. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little... inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people stand in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded as a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really no one at all? To believe? Yeah, to believe. To believe. Mr. Sholmes. Me, Mr. Narhado, what can I do you for? It's about the case on the SS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. Oh, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes, but no. At that time I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did, didn't I? Interesting. What I want to know is why. Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean? Because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in the locked room? If you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Sure, you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you've misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in what you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. But what? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I am concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. A betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not I should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right, welcome student Master Naruto Esquire! Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You're so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, There's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire. As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial. What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruto. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me, in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It should be fair to say, Mr. Naruto, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that much. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Sasso, yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learnt to believe in myself. Sosuke-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him. To find his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength that I can muster. And of course, that is why we're going to be hit with the to be continued. This was a good episode. Ran a little longer than expected, but I figured I'd wrap up the investigation once and for all here. Hopefully, you guys don't mind the extended episode. But I think with all that said, we're going to end this one here. So if you did enjoy, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, help so much, and we'll see more and all that fun stuff. But until next time, also, thanks for watching, guys. My name's been Neremik, and peace out.